of dreaming, to be able to tell yourself there is no mountain. It is very important to also free yourself from old programs imposed by society. I will not explain how the bicycle works again, but will simply give excerpts from the book Tufty the Priestess 2, Event Management, and you will understand everything. There are oppressive questions and situations to which you respond and react unconsciously. These are questions and a situation that oppress you, and you cannot free yourself from them because you are in a stupor, asleep. You're driven into a stupor by a program imposed on you that you are allegedly a priori subordinate and wrong. Remember situations in your life when you are in such a stupor, which prevented you from answering or acting as you would like to. And only then did you remember and understand that you couldn't because you were as if in a dream. To help you, here is the following criterion. A situation in which you are incapacitated is defined by markers, distinguishing features. For example, as in childhood, you are wrong, you owe, you are guilty, you are weak, you are subordinate, you are incapable. Determine what markers characterized your situation. Reader markers. You are initially wrong, even if you are right. You are still wrong. The opinion of others is very important to me. My opinion is not important. I cannot decide anything. I am unworthy. For me, the strongest marker is, what will people think? Be like everyone else. A marker from childhood, I must. I was constantly accompanied by a sense of duty. That's how I was raised. In childhood, I was constantly compared to others, not in my favor. And this became a habit. From my parents, I owe, because it was so hard to raise and bring me up that I will never repay it until the end of my life. If I spend time on myself, I feel like I'm robbing my child, as if my time is more needed by him. Didn't deserve it. Unworthy. When looking for a job, I focus on what skills I lack. Despite high qualifications with a low salary, I always feel like I'm not doing enough, that I should try harder. At work, they try to blame me for others' shortcomings and even dump other people's work on me. At work, I'm wrong by default. I keep silent. At home with my child, I'm also wrong. Bad mother. I often get offended for no reason. A marker from childhood. I was offended. I agree to unfair terms. I am forced to do what I don't want and what I don't need. Most of my life was spent trying to meet someone else's expectations. Mom used to say when I was a kid, "Who needs you besides me?" The feeling that nobody needs me remained. It is correct because everyone does it. In childhood, they told me, "You held money. Go wash your hands. Money is dirty." Now the marker is, money doesn't stay in my hands. My husband doesn't accept me as I am. My interests seem crazy to him, and for some reason I agree. A strong conviction, you have to work hard and long. Since childhood, I really wanted to hug my mother, but she was harsh with me, and I have a complex that I am unworthy of love and affection. Parents instilled, "You can do without it." Now I can't afford anything better. I constantly wait for praise for everyone to get an A. I often hear about myself, "Why are you trying to look so young?" Markers from childhood, comparisons to others, favoring others, fear of making mistakes, fear of negative evaluation, need to be praised. You are obligated to do everything better than everyone else. And if you come in second, it's a complete failure and you are trash. Who needs you without a job, without a roof over your head, and with a child? Marker, act in a way that's the best for others. I'm afraid to say no. Instilled by my husband, you do everything badly, both at work, we work together, and at home. In childhood, my parents always slaved away, but there was still no money, and I also work a lot, and there's no money. So it's not about work. Competition with others, constant comparison of myself with someone. You're not good enough for this. I'm not good enough. I need to earn it. I'm not valuable. A powerful marker is age. It's always too late for me, for anything, and from a rather young age, also instilled somewhere. Tracking markers. In order to break free from a looping dream that repeats again and again, you need to see it, to understand what markers controlled you, and continue to control and dominate you now. This is like regressive hypnosis, when from your current state you experience past states and become aware of them. They stop repeating and controlling you. However, it's not quite that simple. Some markers fall away with mere awareness, while others remain like hooks. Observe yourself as you follow the script. Let your markers become your activators. Catch yourself and observe yourself. Catch yourself the moment you again fall under the influence of a marker. Learn to catch yourself. This is the first thing you need to learn. Once again, what are markers? They are negative attitudes that bind, limit, and put you to sleep. Example, you are inherently wrong. You owe. You are guilty. You are weak. You are subordinate. You are incapable. Markers were either imposed on you by someone, or you imposed them on yourself at some point. For example, you did this after your failures that made a strong impression on you, or from a feeling of inferiority and hopelessness, and your parents did this to keep you in line and manipulate you. What is the most destructive function of a marker? It puts you to sleep. If, for example, in childhood you were instilled with the idea that you owe everyone, then even now you are easily manipulated. Someone just has to remind you that you owe, and that's it. You're a zombie. In some films, there is a plot where a person is hypnotized and a behavior program is embedded by a code word. As soon as he heard the code word, in our case, the marker, he immediately fell into an incapacitated state and began to act according to the program. So, you need to learn to wake up by activators, constantly, always. As was said many times in the first book, don't be lazy. It's in your own interest. A typical activator is something is oppressing you. How do you get rid of this? You need to identify which negative attitude generates this state and then replace the negative attitude with a positive one. For example, do I owe? No, I am free. I can't. No, I can do anything. Am I weak? No, power is within me and with me. Declare new attitudes in thought or aloud, alongside the braid, or just keep repeating them to yourself constantly. And be sure to track changes, confirmation that it works. You will definitely see them. If you are consistent in your practice, your negative markers will be replaced by positive attitudes. From the book Tufty the Priestess 2, Event Management, Summary. To be able to tell yourself there is no mountain, it is very important to free yourself from old programs imposed by society. You're driven into a stupor by a program imposed on you, that you are allegedly subordinate and wrong. You only remember and understand later that you were as if in a dream. Markers are negative attitudes that bind, limit, and put you to sleep. For example, in childhood you were instilled with, you are wrong, you owe, you are guilty, you are weak, you are subordinate, you are incapable. Determine what marker characterized your situation. You need to see and understand what markers controlled you and continue to control and dominate you now. Some markers fall away with mere awareness, while others remain like hooks. Let your markers become your activators. Catch yourself the moment you again fall under the influence of a marker. It is necessary to replace a negative attitude with a positive one. Declare new attitudes, repeat them to yourself constantly, and be sure to track changes, confirmation that it works. Explosion of problems. In the book Tufty the Priestess 2, Event Management, the comprehensive technique of exploding your problems and simultaneously setting your new reality was also first presented. We will call this technique I Can Do Anything. It helps to free oneself from implanted thought markers, at least for a while. It consists of 3 actions. 1. Enter a state of comfort and calmness. 2. Explode your biofield. Enter the state of I can do anything. From this state, 3, set the target frame. The target frame is the final result, what you want to achieve, how you imagine it, in thoughts, words, or images. Whatever works best for you. A short cluster of your intention. Techniques for setting the target frame are collected in Appendix 3. Let's consider the second action, as it produces an interesting effect. Take an intense exhale through your nose and imagine an explosive wave erupting from your body and scattering upward, downward, and sideways. The explosive wave is made of some substance, energy, air, or something else. It doesn't matter what you prefer. Pay special attention to your shoulders, how the wave spreads outward from your shoulders. But in any case, do whatever feels comfortable for you. It doesn't matter what position you're in, lying, standing, or sitting. With an exhale, initiate such an expansion in the plane of your body. If you can't feel this explosion in all directions, again, do what you can and what's comfortable, at least sideways from your shoulders. Simultaneously pronounce aloud or to yourself the thought form, I am free, or I can do anything. You can repeat expanding yourself several times in a row with similar thought forms. For example, no limits. Don't be afraid of the word no. The main thing is to put meaning into a thought form. Pay attention to your sensations. With an exhale, initiate such an expansion in the plane of your body, as if it is expanding in a circular wave, like on a water surface. The exhale is done through the nose, so that attention is focused on expanding the biofield, not on the exhale itself. Such an exercise, even without a thought form, evokes a feeling of strength, lightness, liberation from something. Here are some reviews from Tufte's readers. Some lightness appeared, like I reset myself. Sensations are wonderful. It's like I lit up from the inside. I think this practice helps to cleanse. A feeling of lightness, freedom, self-belief. I felt a surge of strength and energy. A feeling of energy surge, a boost of strength, a charge. Lightness and boundness. A feeling of lightness and euphoria, a pleasant sense of my omnipotence, like Neo from The Matrix. Such a state arises that everything will work out. I can do anything. Relieves stress, gives faith that you are the creator of your reality. An excitement like anticipation. Powerful effect, feeling of strength and weightlessness at the same time. It's like wings grew on my back. Awesome. Negativity is shed. You feel strength, confidence, lightness, and you feel one with the universe. Our Tafty, like Iftat, we get results. I am completely free. The explosion blew away all the blocks. Where does this feeling of lightness come from for everyone? It turns out that expanding one's biofield precisely in the plane of the body removes the weight of the problems and obligations that people hang on themselves and then carry. These weights constantly hang in the biofield in the form of energy blocks and literally block the free flow of energy, bind the will and ability to act. And when such a biofield blow-through is performed, the blocks are removed. Sensations can vary, but the results are the same: liberation and increase of personal power. True, the effect is temporary, so you need to take advantage of the moment and set your reality immediately after you release the blocks. For a lasting effect, it is necessary to perform the practice regularly. Not only energetic blocks are removed, but also some bodily ones. Regular practice, even just a few times a day, with simultaneous setting of your reality frees you from inferiority complexes, for example. And of course, the effectiveness of setting significantly increase. Let me remind you, setting reality is not classic transurfing, but new techniques described in the book Tufte the Priestess Walking Alive in a Movie, and Tufte the Priestess 2 Event Management. Before telling yourself there is no mountain, it would be advisable to perform I can do anything technique. I repeat, the effect of liberation can be temporary. To completely unblock yourself, you need to eliminate some of the other deeply entrenched problems. You really can do anything. This is Appendix 4. Summary. 1. Enter a state of comfort and calmness. 2. Explode your biofield. Say the thought form, I can do anything. 3. From the new state, set the target frame. Techniques for setting the target frame are collected in Appendix 3. The second action evokes a feeling of strength, lightness, and liberation from something. The effect is temporary, so you need to take advantage of the moment and set your reality immediately after you release the blocks. From this state, it will be easier to tell yourself there is no mountain. For a lasting effect, it is necessary to perform the practice regularly. Read Appendix 4 and follow the recommendations.